A question that awakens humanity. Have you ever felt like you're falling behind while everything around you is moving too fast? It's not just about how quickly your new phone operates, or how AI can generate a full essay in seconds. It's about the pace at which something becomes outdated before you've even finished understanding it. Like running on a treadmill that someone keeps speeding up. And then the question arises, in a world where AI is doing everything faster, what must I learn to avoid being left behind? This is not a technical manual. Nor is it a lecture on emerging technologies. It's an invitation to pause, to listen, and to learn how to live with deeper awareness, so you don't get swept away. The invisible race, when AI accelerates and humans stumble. AI doesn't sleep, doesn't tire, has no feelings, but does it truly understand? Artificial intelligence can absorb billions of data points in a single hour. But it doesn't know how to feel all at a sunset. It doesn't know love. It doesn't forgive. It doesn't know how to stop and breathe when needed. There was once a young goalkeeper from South America, a tall man with hands so stiff that every time he caught a ball, it bounced off as if hitting stone. At the time, people thought, "We're in trouble." But instead of quitting, he chose repetition, simple, yet extraordinary. Every day, he kicked a ball at a wall and caught it. 350 times. Without skipping a day. For 8 straight months. His hands became calloused. His sweat dried and hardened into discipline. He didn't wait for a miracle, he made one. Eventually, he became a professional goalkeeper playing in Europe. No AI can replicate that kind of spirit, the quiet determination honed through failure, sharpened by effort, and fueled by relentless belief in oneself. That's not just skill building. That's soul crafting. When others learn faster, you must learn deeper. You don't need to learn faster than AI. You need to learn deeper than who you were yesterday. Learn to understand. Learn to connect. Learn to transform. Like the person who fails 1,000 times but still rises, because he learned how not to give up. Remember the extraordinary journey of J.K. Rowling, a single mother in Edinburgh living on welfare, holding her baby in one arm while scribbling Harry Potter on napkins in cafes with the other. When the manuscript was finished, she sent it to 12 different publishers, only to be rejected 12 times. One said the tone was too dark. Another said no one would read such a long children's book. By the 6th rejection, she may have doubted herself. By the 10th, most would have quit. But not her. On the 13th attempt, a Bloomsbury editor finally took a chance, not because of statistics, but because his daughter read the first chapter and begged to read more. Now imagine if Rowling lived in the AI age, where an algorithm could assign her a mediocre score, provide a cold analysis, or suggest rewriting her entire work. Would she have had the inner steadiness not to crumble under such detached feedback? It was the human within her that triumphed over external calculation. And that is something no AI can ever replace. 3 core skills humans need to survive the new world. Confidence. No one will believe in you if you don't first. In a time when AI can write for you, design for you, and even think for you, there's one thing it can't replace: your belief in yourself. I remember vividly the powerful speech delivered by Ivan Joseph, a sports coach, educator, and motivational speaker. He stood in front of thousands, no slides, no script, speaking with a steady and commanding voice. I define confidence as the ability to believe in yourself to accomplish any task, no matter the odds, no matter the difficulty, no matter the adversity. He didn't say it as a slogan. He shared how he personally trained that confidence, by speaking in front of a mirror every day, then practicing in front of his kids, his wife, his colleagues, and finally before thousands, until the fear disappeared. He said confidence isn't luck. It isn't natural talent. It's a skill. And like every skill, it needs to be trained again and again. He even wrote letters to himself, letters to be read during moments of doubt, reminding him why he once believed, once pushed forward, once won. I am the captain of my ship. I am the master of my fate. That's not just a phrase. That's a vow. A form of spoken meditation. A personal anchor cast deep in turbulent seas. Love of learning, learn as a spiritual practice. You can't outlearn an AI that downloads entire libraries in seconds. But you can learn like a monk touches a falling leaf, with full presence. Learn with your whole being. Learn not for grades, not for recognition, but to more deeply understand yourself and the world. One speaker told the story of how he learned to play billiards to relieve the stress of writing a heavy book. At first, he was terrible. But day by day, he improved. And somewhere along that journey, he rediscovered the joy of learning, of getting better at something he once struggled with. AI doesn't learn from failure. Humans do. Patience, happiness is found in slowing down, not rushing ahead. In an age obsessed with speed, humans must relearn the art of slowing down. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about being fully present during the wait. In Buddhist tradition, this is called Khanti, the perfection of endurance. No awakening ever came from rushing. No deep peace was ever born of haste. In a world where people scramble to update their apps, are you willing to update yourself by slowing down instead? Self-talk, learning to speak with yourself in a noisy age. The negative tape in your head, and how to turn it off. All of us have a small voice inside. Sometimes, that voice is toxic. You try on a new pair of jeans and it says, "I look fat." You walk into a classroom and it whispers, "I'm not smart enough." You consider asking someone out and it screams, "Don't be stupid." She'll reject you. That voice isn't truth. It's old programming. In Buddhism, it's called delusion, mental illusions created by the mind. To move beyond it, you don't just use logic. You train mindfulness, you observe what you're telling yourself, and cultivate enough awareness not to identify with it. Rewrite the tape with compassion. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," try, "I'm learning how to do this." Instead of, "I'm not good enough," try, "I'm growing every day." Instead of rejecting yourself, try embracing yourself. Compassion isn't weakness. It's the deep wisdom that sees yourself in the process, not the end point. Ivan Joseph once shared that he wrote a letter to himself, to read on days when his confidence was low. It wasn't arrogance. It was an act of inner training. A spiritual practice in self-renewal. Write a letter to yourself, as a blessing from your future self looking back. Compassionate feedback, the art of nurturing instead of judging. Why do most learners lose motivation after receiving feedback? In today's high-pressure and hyper-competitive world, feedback is often confused with criticism and evaluation mistaken for judgment. We say to students, "You didn't do it right," but forget to add, "I believe you can do better." A teacher once shared a story. When a student made a mistake, he didn't rush to point it out directly. Instead, he chose a gentler approach. He praised another student who had done it correctly, in front of the one who erred. Not to overshadow the mistake, but to preserve the learner's dignity. When someone sees others succeed in a positive environment, they often adjust themselves, without feeling shame or defeat. That is the art of compassionate feedback, not highlighting faults, but planting the seed of belief, "I can do that too." A way of teaching that doesn't shrink people, but encourages them to rise. That is compassion in action, nurturing without shaming. Compassionate feedback, practicing right speech in a broken world. In the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha teaches right speech, words that are truthful, constructive, timely, and bring peace. In an era where AI can score an essay in seconds, humans must learn to speak in ways that empower, not discourage. Don't just speak the truth, speak the truth with kindness. Don't just say what's right, say it with mindfulness. When you give praise at the right moment, when you lift someone before they fall, you are not just a teacher. You are a torchbearer. In an age of constant AI evaluation, compassion is the leader's edge. In many corporations, employees now receive routine AI-generated feedback on productivity, communication patterns, even time spent online. But AI doesn't know you just buried a loved one, or that you didn't sleep last night because your child was sick. Only humans see the context. And only compassion preserves the human spirit. When leaders know how to listen, to step into someone else's shoes, to give feedback in the right way, they create a safe space for learning, innovation, and real growth. Catch them doing something right isn't just a teaching trick, it's a practice that shapes character. Social connection, the human skill AI can never replicate. Belonging isn't about pleasing, it's about understanding and being understood. AI can simulate conversation, but it cannot listen with a whole heart. It may respond with perfect grammar, but it cannot read the pain behind someone's eyes. That's why emotional connection is one of the most vital skills of the 21st century. Someone once told me something I'll never forget. No one is born knowing how to connect, empathize, or work well in a team. These aren't instincts, they're skills. And like any skill, they must be learned, practiced, and sometimes failed at before they're mastered. That message stayed with me. We can't expect connection unless we've learned to listen. We can't demand collaboration if we haven't yet practiced stepping back so others can step forward. In Buddhist teaching, this capacity is expressed through the 4 immeasurables. Loving kindness, metta, wishing others well. Compassion, karu, feeling others' pain. Sympathetic joy, mudita, rejoicing in others' happiness. Equanimity, upekkha, letting go of bias and attachment. A person may be brilliant, but if no one wants to work with them, they will be left behind. In this era where AI can easily track performance metrics, soft skills, like listening, collaboration, and emotional leadership, have become enduring competitive advantages. A team that knows how to care will be more creative, resilient, and crisis-proof than any optimization software. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Social connection isn't a side skill. It is the foundation that keeps humanity human. Meditation in the age of data, when stillness becomes power. The inner space, where data cannot reach. Jon Kabat-Zinn, founder of the MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction program, once described waking up on certain days feeling like he was living in a data storm. Unanswered emails, metrics to monitor, urgent news flooding every corner. But it was in the moment of sitting down, closing his eyes, and observing each breath passing through, that he found something no amount of data could bring: presence. No more deadlines. No more expectations. Only the breath, in and out, reminding us that we are still alive. Meditation is not about escaping the world. It is about returning, to stand steady within it. Stillness, the last form of rebellion in the age of metrics. In a world where every action can be recorded, analyzed, and ranked, stillness becomes the deepest form of resistance. When you pause, you refuse to be swept away. You choose to own your rhythm, instead of being dragged by algorithms. Stillness is not avoidance, but a conscious choice. I will not let the world define my worth by how fast I move. applying the Eightfold Path in modern work. Buddhism does not leave the office. In Google's offices, mindfulness meditation sessions are nothing new. At major companies like LinkedIn and Intel, many senior leaders apply the Eightfold Path as a guiding compass in management, from right view in decision-making, to right speech in communication, and right livelihood in career orientation. When people work mindfully, they don't just work better, they work with greater meaning. Reflective questions from the Eightfold Path at work. When applying the spirit of Buddhist teachings in work, we may ask ourselves, is what I'm doing harming anyone? Right livelihood. Does this job negatively impact the environment, public health, or the well-being of others? Am I speaking what needs to be said, at the right time, with compassion? Right speech. Do my feedback and words help others grow, or do they only hurt? Am I seeing things as they truly are, or through the fog of my emotions? Right view. Am I reacting through bias, or truly seeing things as they are? Am I acting with wholesome intent, or serving my ego? Right intention. Is my goal to contribute, or to assert myself and seek external validation? These are not just ethical questions, they are tools for self-reflection, helping us to work with heart, with wisdom, and with depth. The art of bouncing back. Resilience is not endurance. Not everyone rises the same way after falling. Some people close their hearts after failure, others grow through the pain. The difference doesn't lie in willpower, but in how they speak to themselves after the storm. Take the story of J.K. Rowling. She was rejected 12 times before a publisher believed in Harry Potter. Not because she didn't feel hurt, but because she knew her dream was worth pursuing. In an era where even a comment from AI can make us feel worthless, resilience is no longer about endurance, it's about transformation. Learning to fail without losing yourself. Failure is part of learning. But if we do not speak to ourselves with compassion, we can mistake a mistake for an identity. I didn't do well becomes I'm not good enough. And so, every small failure becomes a crack in the soul. Resilience begins when we can say to ourselves, I'm still learning. I may not be there yet, but I haven't given up. Befriending AI with gratitude. AI doesn't need thanks, humans do. You can give a virtual assistant hundreds of commands, and it won't mind. But a coworker isn't the same. We need recognition, a warm glance, a timely thank you, to feel our worth. Gratitude, even just a word, can transform the mood, the tone, and the culture of a team. Gratitude is a form of emotional intelligence. Many studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude experience less stress, stronger bonds, and higher psychological resilience. In a world where technology grows colder and more precise, gratitude is how we stay human. We give thanks not because the other is perfect, but because they were present. Returning to essence before upgrading your version. Don't upgrade if you don't know who you are. Each AI update aims for greater efficiency, but humans are not just about efficiency. Before learning a new skill, ask yourself, why am I learning this? Who do I want to become? Essence is not a CV. It cannot be measured, replicated by AI, or compared. You don't need to become someone else. You need to return to yourself. The final lesson in the age of acceleration. AI won't kill your career, but it may erode your essence if you don't know when to pause. Pause to breathe. Pause to be grateful. Pause to ask yourself, am I truly living or just reacting? Conclusion, true evolution lies not in technology, but in consciousness. We are living in a magnificent era where artificial intelligence can write poems, diagnose diseases, even run businesses. But what makes us different, what makes us truly human, is not our capacity to process data, but our capacity to listen to ourselves. As the world constantly updates, remember this: you don't always need to move forward to grow. Sometimes, growth happens when you pause, turn inward, and ask a simple question. Am I living my own life, or letting something else live it for me? And if you can answer that question with honesty and an open heart, then congratulations, you have already gone farther than any technology could ever take you.